Let me ask you something. How many ideas have you had that never turned into anything? All because you felt they weren't perfect enough. Be honest with me now, because I can imagine that you plan, you prepare, you think, and then you overthink. And then you end up waiting for this magical moment when you think that it will feel right. But that moment, it never comes, does it? Because you just keep putting it off. Epictetus himself said, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" And that right there is that problem. You're just waiting. And that's just called perfectionism. It's just wearing a little disguise. You don't need this perfect, meticulous plan. You just need your first step. That's it. So let's get into it. The first thing I need you to understand and always remember is that perfect isn't the standard. Progress is. The Stoics always focused on what they can control, and that is exactly where your process needs to start. You need to lower the bar. Right now, as it stands, your expectations are just way too high because you want your first step to look like somebody else's 64th. Your first workout, your first video, your first client call, they will never be as good as your 100th one. Never. So your only real job right now is to just begin. But I need you to begin in a smart way. You need to start at a level you can actually maintain. A small step, a simple step, something you can even do on days where motivation is just nowhere to be seen. Small steps that you may think are insignificant actually compound over time, and they're the things that create the biggest progress in your lifetime. But you just have to stay consistent with it. After all, going to the gym and working out for 9 hours straight isn't going to get you a great physique, but going to the gym for 30 minutes for 6 months will. Let me guess, you don't want to make yourself look like an idiot. That's understandable, but that is why you need to focus on the action and not the outcome. Because that worry of, looking stupid, that worry of just being judged by other people, more of that exists in your mind than it actually does in the real world. There's a bit of a constant that's kind of rooted in stoicism, and it focuses on how you just cannot control others. You cannot control external factors. The only thing you can control is yourself, how you react to things, how you go about things. So even if you do make yourself look like a fool, you won't be able to control how other people feel about you. And in reality, people will care a lot less than you actually think. And even if they do, what does that really matter? It has no significant impact on your life if they decide to say something about it. The weight on the impact depends on how you perceive it. So if you don't care about it, well then it's pretty meaningless, isn't it? Because after all, everything is cringe until it works, right? Momentum can only be built through repetition. You don't need motivation, you don't need inspiration, you need momentum. And momentum comes from repeating things over and over again. When you repeat actions, let's just say it's training, learning, working, creating, even on a very, very bad level, when things feel like absolute shit, eventually that fear fades. That feeling just goes away. But it only goes away if you do it over and over again. And you start to see the positives, even in the things you perceived as bad originally. Let's just say you had a match and you performed very badly. That's very good. Now you know what you need to improve on. Or maybe you had a reality check and you aren't actually as good as you think you were. And this isn't to put yourself down. This is just a clear indicator, a goal, so to speak, that has shown itself to you. So now you know what you need to focus on and what you need to improve on. And then all of a sudden, all these tasks become lighter and more enjoyable. And of course, through all of that, your confidence grows, because confidence is built, it is not given. Review yourself without any kind of judgment, at the end of each day or week, depending on how you want to, look at it or how often you want to do it. Just look at what you did, like genuinely look at it and pick it apart. Not to criticize yourself, even if you didn't do that great. That doesn't really matter right now. The point of it is to understand yourself, to have more clarity of your actions, what it is that you're doing, what went well, what went bad, Because when you know what works and what doesn't, you have clarity, you have understanding, and then you know what to focus on, you know what to get rid of and what to keep or double down on. Because the more you understand yourself, in that sense, it's just simply that much easier to push yourself in the right direction. I think all the things we just previously spoke about are insanely important. I used to always wait to start things. I wasted so much time thinking I need to become this better person, different person, more knowledgeable, better looking, faster, stronger, whatever. I always had something to tell myself that I needed to be before I could make a start. Or I generally just had absolutely no confidence in myself to begin in the first place. It's almost like I didn't want to speak up. I felt like I didn't really deserve to speak up in that sense. So I always just convinced myself to wait. And that was a big mistake, a very big mistake. It is one of the very few things in life that I actually genuinely regret not starting things sooner. Because, you sometimes have them thoughts, just thinking, how far could I have gotten if I started when I thought about it? And due to, not taking action, I didn't grow. I didn't really improve. I was just kind of stuck in that one place for a while. And the real regret came from the realization of how much of my life I wasted just doing other things, just things that didn't matter, and telling myself that I wasn't capable. It's actually one of the things that I kind of swore myself is that I never want to repeat that again. I never want to have a situation where I regret not doing something. I'd rather do it and it go horribly wrong even, and then just sit there wondering what if. It's a very, very tough thing to get used to. I still definitely didn't stick to that at the beginning when I kind of set that rule for myself, but over time I have, and it's one of the best changes I've ever made and implemented into my life. To just get to it, get stuck in, learn, make yourself look like a fool, and just try. Because honestly, the magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding. I don't know who the exact person is who quoted this, but I've seen on a Chris Wilson video, and it forever stuck with me, that did. And it's just something that I just always aim to live by. Because the art of beginning isn't about perfection. It's about choosing action over fear, over doubt, and just finally stop overthinking so much. I hope that, my little story and my little process helps you build that momentum, to build that confidence, and to eventually become the person you always know you could be. You don't need a perfect beginning, you just need a beginning. And as always, I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you next week.